Hello and welcome back again, my friends. I am Preacher, and today, well, earlier in the week, along with kind of buried underneath all the other goings ons, somehow still, PlayStation games on Xbox is the largest topic of conversation. But buried somewhere deep underneath that, I found this. Let me bring up that screenshot again. These are the numbers for the first batch. And a little bit of the second. You can really take Asian mythology out of there, but it just goes to accentuate the point. But these are the numbers from the first batch plus one from Elena Analytics of Xbox games coming to PlayStation. Now, that's not including the second batch, right? With Indiana Jones, which, as I speak, the $100 edition is topping the PlayStation store charts. That's supposed to be some win for Xbox fans. Xbox fans tout that as is Forza Horizon. You know what I mean? That $100 edition and their $60 editions sit very high, if not 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the US PlayStation Store right now. You know what I mean? They're selling quite well. You know what I mean? As new games tend to do, but they're selling quite well. You know what I mean? That's supposed to be some sort of oh, look at this. Look at this. We got the sales now. You have the release sales of 2 games, right? And this really puts that back in perspective. A lot of these Xbox pundits have been saying, oh, Xbox is dominating the PlayStation Store. Xbox is going to take over the Trojan horse. That's the new hold the line, right? The Trojan horse. Eh. Yo, look. And these same guys, right? These same guys will discredit Astrobot, right? Oh, you have 70 million PS5s. Show me one game that has sold to a majority of its player base. It doesn't happen. It's different strokes for different folks. Astrobot's a platformer. I don't even usually play those games. You know what I mean? But anyway, that is a completely different topic for another day. But Astrobot has at this point sold more than the first 4 games that came over, plus Age of Mythology. One game has sold more than 5 Xbox games combined, with the novelty of them crossing over being exclusive beforehand. Y'all laughing at Astro sales when Xbox sold y'all out, sold your generation from underneath you for less than what Astro sold. Y'all Xbox dudes never learned to wash their mouths. Because anything they say, I used to say this all the time. Every word they say has an expiration date. It ages like old milk. Everything they say ages like old milk. Like it's just left out in the sun to rot. Because they're not speaking from a place of genuineness. They're speaking from a defensive a defensive posture in a company that is moving, right? That's the thing about Xbox. They are very clearly a moving train down a track that they're building as it goes, right? So anytime the track slips up, these guys jump out in front to try to defend it. No, this is fine, everything's okay. And then they move past that, and it's like, oh, things changed. Well, I should be able to change my mind with new information. You know, it's just the hypocrisy. It's just the hypocrisy. I think this is going to be a short one because it really just speaks for itself, right? Astrobot is one game that didn't even sell particularly well for a PlayStation first party studio title, right? Especially for the acclaim that it got, Game of the Year, which it wasn't. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was, but again, different video. Xbox has done, no matter what side of the fence you sit on, Xbox has done irreparable damage to their brand for 2.4 million copies sold. That was the test, right? They said they were putting 4 games out there. It's just these 4 games, and we're gonna test it out, see how it goes. And they saw 2.4 million copies, something smaller than that at the time that they got it. And they said, boy, put that Indiana Jones on the Summer Games Fest stage. We got one more thing for you, PlayStation fans. An Xbox game. Man. And this is the dude, these are the people that you think are gonna, unify and simplify PC gaming and console gaming within the next 2 years. I mean, it really doesn't track. And I mean, if you even look at that move right there, right? That is not a hardware-minded company thing to do, right? To put your games elsewhere and inherently devalue your console and your console ecosystem for, like, at the time, let's say like 1.8, 1.9 million copies. To do that and put your hardware in jeopardy does not make sense, right? But it does make sense for a software company, right? It does make sense for somebody who's already planning to go third party, real third party, like third party publishing on other major consoles, to include your rival. I mean, like, again, they sold out console exclusivity for like roughly 1.9 million. Because again, these numbers are coming out in March. Indiana Jones and shit was announced in like in the summer. So they didn't have all these sales at the time. And yet still they pushed forward on breaking that wall down for themselves and devaluing their console. That doesn't make sense to then, in the next 2 years, completely turn that on its head by losing a bunch of money, by getting rid of Xbox Live and putting other storefronts on your console proper. It doesn't make sense. It never made sense. I've been saying that for a year. I know y'all must hear the apathy in my voice at this point. Like, I have been saying this for, it doesn't make sense. It never made sense from the first. It's one of those Xbox rumors. Somebody starts it up on a podcast, and I really believe that they molded that shit. Because they've been softly, you know what I mean? Oh, wouldn't an Xbox handheld be cool? Forever. But it was that Project Keystone, the streaming device. I think when that didn't come out, when that didn't come to fruition, I think Phil turned he always has his ear to the community, you know what I mean? And I think he heard them, and I think he said, hey, handheld. And I think he saw the ROG and the Steam Deck, and he, just like with Netflix and stuff, and he was like, no, we can do this. This is the future. We got it. And I think somebody else in the room, higher minds must have prevailed to not to say that Phil Spencer's stupid in any way, but I'm just saying I think he gets a little gung-ho with these things. And I think somebody said, hold on, instead of us betting our whole future on a handheld, let's give it to an OEM first and see what happens there and kind of get some data going here. And between all that, the ABK deal happened and third party happened, and now it's starting to look like a better idea to make an Xbox OS that includes Steam and everything, right? It includes all your storefronts and PlayStation games on a Xbox launcher, and just leave the hardware to the hardware companies and be the biggest third-party publisher in the world and rake in tons of cash pretty much passively. Uh, it, it seems like a distinct possibility. But like I said, this is going to be a short one. These numbers, the whole scenario really speaks for itself and stinks of desperation. So I'm going to get out of here. Again, my friends, my name is Preacher, and I hope to see you all back here on the pews.